Tarek, are you ready to look into the future with me?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, looking
Because
at the future is easy because you can say what you want and it's not necessarily going to happen.
well, hopefully, that would be easy, right? It would
Yeah,
be exactly what every one of
yeah.
us wants. Well, no, I would like to move a bit from the discussion of what's happening now
Hmm.
to the future a bit,
Okay.
and especially with you because you're not somebody who's just operating a company. You're somebody who's indirectly building an industry, right? And
Yes.
I think it's an important part not only for the community, but also when we're looking at the greater vision of Kuwait, at Kuwait, New Kuwait 2035.
Mm.
One of their mandates is to increase, to diversify the economy, increase the exposure to local manufacturing, and as you said, more industrial activities, let's
Yeah.
say. And we know that the activities that are related to waste management, environmental initiatives of all sorts, are becoming now a great business all over the world. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars yearly. Um, in looking at that, we see more talks about the circular economy.
Yes.
And I want to approach this subject with you, looking into the future of Kuwait specifically. What do you think can be and should be the future of Kuwait when we look at this part of the economy?
Well, the big issue that I see straight away, and I'm talking Kuwait specific,
Hmm.
uh, there needs to be government incentivization and a legal framework ready for us to do this. Now, I'll jump into one specific issue that we are facing as a country, the tires. Now, the
Okay.
tires are, we've looked at tire recycling on more than one occasion, and it's very difficult to make it feasible. It can be feasible, but it's not that profitable. So when you come to a decision, you look at the return on investment. Say, no, I'll put my money in this project instead of doing the tires. So that's why people will walk away from it. But as a country, as a nation, we should look at that as, oh, hang on, we have a tire issue. We've had a couple of different big fires, and this smoke is very hazardous. It comes off from a tire fire. So we need to address this, and we need to make sure that we're doing it. So what we could do, and I think this would be the best thing. Now, I've kept this to myself for a while because I've always had it in the back of my head, maybe I could convince the right people to do it. But look, this is what we need to do. I
Yes.
think to make this tire problem a good opportunity, really, we need to. Kuwait's now invested in all the different areas of Kuwait. They have walkways. They have
Yes.
this little walkway around every neighborhood.
And we enjoy them in
Okay.
winter.
And we enjoy them in winter. They're tarmac, or sometimes parts of them are cement.
Okay.
Now, if there were crumbled tires, they would be much easier on your knees
Okay.
because you're not hitting against tarmac and or cement. The same thing goes for the schoolyards.
Okay. We're learning something new right
Yeah.
now.
All right. But for you to crumble the tires, all right, you need to extract the metal steel in them. You need to extract the fibers in them. And then you get into some processing, basically cutting them all up, make them into a uniform size, and mixing them with a couple of different epoxies. And then I can use them as tiles or even as some kind of sprayed on system, whatever. But it's not commercially feasible to do those things today. And it's not encouraged properly. If the government mandates that all these walkways have to be rubber or let's say knee friendly, okay, we would win in more than one way. The government would actually save some money on medical costs because if you get runners that end up having, they run in their youth and when they grow older, they're going to have knee problems.
Exactly.
We have free medical. So the government is going to pay for the knee surgeries, knee treatment, knee medication. So if in the
Yes.
longer run, we eliminate these issues, all right, have less children falling on tarmac or cement in school and scraping their knees and having to go to the doctor, okay, they fall on rubber. That's a lot easier on your knees. It's a lot easier on your knee, on your whole body, wherever you
Yes.
fall. So that I think that's the essence of circular economy. Because I think I'm spending money in one place, but I'm actually going to save it somewhere else. And this is really hits home in Kuwait because we have free medicine and we treat everybody. So I think that's one of the things we really should be looking at.
I was going to say,
Yes.
let's do together an imagination exercise.
All right.
Let's imagine if we could objectify the government of Kuwait. I am the government of Kuwait.
Okay.
If I want to help you and I want to help your industry, and we're having an honest conversation, and I say,
Okay.
Tarek, how can I support your industry better? What would be the first three things, let's say, you would ask me
First
to
three
do?
things that I would ask. My industry or industry in general, I would say, firstly, really streamline the implementation of the processes. We really need to get rid of this bureaucracy and the delayed in bureaucracy. The
Yes.
second thing is liberate the real estate market so real investors, okay, will come in and they can actually set up a factory. A lot of people want to come in, but the real estate is it's such a big barrier that
Are we talking here, for me to understand better, are we talking here a lack of available land, or are we talking about pricing?
the price of available land is too high for anybody to come in and invest if they have to buy the land. And the land, because of the scarcity, the real estate rental cost is significant as well. So that's a big prohibitive for, or a big barrier for industry to go forward. Last, we need to keep, I'd like you, Mr. Government, to keep an open mind when we come up to you with suggestions that are not readily available or not fit in within a particular process. Keep an open mind and let's say, let's try it.
Yes.
As government, you're not going to, I'm willing to invest. I'm willing to make the investment. So let's give it a try. But if you take the tires, let's say if you're Mr. Government and I'm telling you about the tires, I need the public works to mandate contractors when they're doing the streets, they put a walkway that's made of crumpled tires. All right. Or any sports stadium. They use them in sports stadiums today, the running track. But why
Yes.
don't we have everything like a running track? All the schoolyards, all the walkways, even pavements. They're good in the rain because they don't collect water. Water will go through them. Okay. And
I was going to ask you next, how does waste management turn into an economic opportunity?
it is already a working formula today but not all wastes. The problem with waste, and when you get into specific types of waste, the cost of treatment or the cost of turning it into a raw material or a valuable product is significant. So to make that feasible, you have to reduce these costs. The cost of either by segregating makes it easier. I don't have to do segregation; it comes segregated. The cost of the real estate I've already discussed, but let's say one of the big things that we can really look at is the term of the contracts that are let today.
Okay.
And the scope of the contracts that are let today. Let's say, for example, the landfills. Today, the landfills are termed at 3 years.
Okay.
If I'm going to put in a significant sorting line to process your 1.7 kilos of trash per person per day,
Okay.
we're talking in the millions and millions of KD, not dollars. So for me to recoup that investment, I cannot do it in 3 years. So one thing you should look at is maybe the tendering process or the tendering period. The contract should be encouraging that I make the right investment.
Yes.
Now, you can also mandate that you need to segregate. Fine. Today, the mandate is not to segregate. The mandate is to take that trash, put it in a hole in the desert, and bury it.
So as long as the contract is longer, you would be willing to take on more responsibility, let's say.
Every businessman in the world will look at the opportunity and the return on investment.
Exactly.
Is it there? Is it not? If it's not, I'm not going to do it.
Let's continue on our imagination exercise.
Since we're imagining things,
Yes.
another thing about tendering. In Kuwait, the government actually specifies, I want to clean this building. I need 15 laborers. I need a machine, this machine, and this much detergent.
Okay.
Or whatever chemical you want to use. I think what we should be looking at from a government tendering process is we should be looking at, I want the outcome. So the tenders should say, I want my windows cleaned once a week, all the floors vacuumed twice a day, whatever it is. Put the specification that you require
Exactly.
and let the private sector, who is a lot more innovative, a lot more cost conscious, and they will get the job done without the 15 laborers. I mean, we have
Yes.
some companies that are geniuses that can do it with 5 and 3 machines. Why say 15 people on 5 machines? You know, it'll become cheaper for the government. Buy an outcome, don't specify what you want in number of people or equipment.
I'm going back to what I was saying. Let's
Yes.
continue the imagination exercise.
We're
So
still imagining, huh?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I am the personified government of Kuwait, and I did help you. I offered you some incentives. I eased on some of the policy. I became more specific about what I wanted, and I made sure that the tendering process ensures longer contracts to support more the private sector.
Right, yeah.
It's been 5, maybe 10 years since I did this. How does the sector look now?
Probably 3 times the size of the industrial sector today. The number of investors that are willing to come into Kuwait, I believe, are significant. Kuwait, like I say, if you how long have you been living here now?
9 years.
How safe do you feel every day?
Very, very safe.
How comfortable are you when you walk around the streets? Do you have opportunities for entertainment? Do you
No,
have,
and I have to say this, I'm going to make a bracket. We literally leave the car running and we go somewhere and do something and come back. I mean, don't get us wrong, parked, but that's a different story. But I mean, is that safe? I mean, you can leave your car open with the keys inside and go, and nothing is going to happen.
I'm now going to be partial because I am Kuwaiti.
Okay.
I believe we are very hospitable people. We are very friendly. We have a
Yes.
very safe nation. These are things that will make whoever's coming to live here more comfortable. We have a lot of educational opportunities, private or public. Okay, we have a lot of universities for the older ones. So these things are here. We have very good medical treatment. Okay, and it's free. All right. Well, maybe it's a minimal fee for expatriates, but it's nowhere near what it costs you in reality. So from living here, that's significant. The opportunities in Kuwait for not only in waste management, I think are significant for industry in general. I described earlier on the factors that make it more interesting or make it more attractive. Saying so, if we liberalize a little bit more and actually really bring in the private sector, honestly have a discussion with them, what do you need and how can we make it better for you? The economy will explode. Everything. I mean,
But what would you see?
What would I see?
Let's say you're looking in Kuwait, it's been 10 years. What would you see new compared to what we have today? What do you think would be there?
Alhamdulillah, we have everything that we need. Alhamdulillah. But from an environmental
Economic development perspective, environmental, economic
I said,
diversification.
yes, I believe.
I'm sorry, I'm going to make a bracket here. I'm talking about this why? Because I know there's more tendering processes happening now. We see more initiatives from the government. But also, I'm curious to know from your side of the spectrum, as somebody who's also bidding for some of these initiatives, if you feel that there's local appetite for these things.
Well, it doesn't have to be bidding. And there are enough ideas out there, and I think there's a gap where we can actually really significantly develop. What that would do is that we would start to attract a lot more brainy people.
Yes.
Okay? And there's huge areas and all this artificial intelligence data centers and the cloud centers, all this type of stuff. We don't have a lot of them here in Kuwait. There's a couple, I think, in the background that are now being operated on, but we can turn this around. That's a big area that we should be looking at. A lot more manufacturing of everything. If anything that has occurred in the last few weeks that's shown up, that hang on a second, we really need to be self-sufficient in terms of growing our own food and manufacturing our own products. These things need to be looked at. We import a lot of food.
Yes.
Our agricultural infrastructure is not very strong. I believe the government is now looking at these things, and they're having them, but they're looking at a longer-term warehousing facilities for food specific and food security specific. But how about agriculture? How about growing our own food?
Yes.
You know, that I think is an area that would flourish. I've seen some very lovely farms, some very nice produce I don't know if there's a couple of farms that you can get all these different kinds of radishes, multicolored radishes, purple carrots. You know, yesterday a friend of mine sent me from Wafra a beautiful box of strawberries. They were lovely.
And I
Grown in
remember,
Kuwait.
I remember last time when I saw you, you mentioned, and I would want you to mention that in case I forgot part of it. You mentioned about a specific flower. You remember you told me if you go into the heart of the desert
Yes.
to a place where nobody goes.
You'll see a lot of biodiversity of flora. I think we were discussing the arfage flower.
Yes.
Because that is now also the symbol of solidarity with our armed forces, which are doing a
Resilience, yes.
fantastic job. The arfage. There's another lovely flower that is El Nuer, which is a little flower that bursts up straight after the rains. Because it's out now. So it's another yellow flower.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we need to do. We need to protect our desert. Unfortunately, we don't do that very well because we don't. That goes to the awareness. We still litter, and that has to stop.
Exactly.
That has to stop.
Tarek, you're somebody who also travels and you're somebody who stays ahead of the game by watching new trends. Is there anything that you saw on international markets in your industry that you would like to see in Kuwait? Anything that you found groundbreaking in one way or another? Or
Yeah, well, it's actually probably more on the robotics in industry and AI to do streamlining and better decision making. Those two areas, I think, are ripe for Kuwait. Those two. Of course, the machines for processing, they're always developing. They're always becoming more efficient, but not groundbreaking. Groundbreaking, I think, is the robotics and robotics in waste management. There are a couple of companies out there that are working with sorting lines that do the segregation with the assistance of robotics, therefore significantly increasing the efficiency of segregation.
so maybe in 10 years, looking down the line, we might see robotics in Kuwait
Yes, why not? I
in
hope
these
so.
industries.
They're robotics in warehousing.
But if we had to step aside a bit from the wishful thinking and we step back into
Reality. Welcome back.
are we are we today building systems or are we still managing problems?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both, I think. I'm talking now not only in waste management, right? I'm talking about everything,
Yes.
right? So I think a little bit of both. We are managing what we have today, and in certain sectors, I think we should have more growth. Our financial institutions the stocks and stuff like that are doing well. Our industrial base needs to significantly grow. We have a couple of growth plans now that we're hopefully in the next couple of months we'll start to put into place. I guess twofold. Yes, there is significant growth opportunities, but they really need to have the right environment to make the investment. And I think there's a big appetite for investments in Kuwait. I think a lot of Kuwaitis are quite shrewd in terms of investment and financial management. At the same time, because of our market size and because of our their diversified industrial base, we end up managing what we have and not making significant investments. I had a long discussion this morning with the plastic manager about trying now to produce more products from our recycled plastic because of the situation. So how do we use our plastic to take it into product level? And unfortunately, we came to the decision that you probably can't do it because the market is so small. And then I'm going to end up competing with Indian product or Chinese product that can process it because they produce 3 zillion of them anyway.
Okay.
And so we're never going to be competitive,
Yes.
even with the shipping costs. Okay, so it's a little bit of both, I suppose.